Hey everybody, welcome back. A little game called The Binding of Isaac. You'll have to excuse me if I sound... Maybe you can see vapor. Oh, now we're talking. Look at that. Boss Rush. Blue Baby. Put on my Squidward voice for a second there. SpongeBob. I don't know anything about Squidward except he's blue. And he kind of sounds like that. I believe... Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he plays the oboe or the clarinet. It's certainly some kind of reeded woodwind instrument. Does it have one reed? Does it have two reeds? I don't know the answer to this question. I wish that I did. Interesting. Deal with the devil right off the bat. Many people are saying that that's the greatest play you've ever seen in Isaac history right there. To use wait what to easily get a red chest that gives you 3 spiders. Many people are saying this. Which people? You wouldn't know them, but don't you want to be a part of the plurality here? Of many people who are saying this? What I was going to say, though, is you'll have to, excuse me. If you see vapor being emitted from my mouth while I speak here, it's a little kayfabe. I know we don't have our webcam on here. It has been ahistorically cold in Vancouver, and I know what you're going to say. 2 months ago, you were complaining about that unprecedented heat dome that was apparently like the largest fatality-inducing weather event in Canadian history. It's true. It did indeed happen. And now you're complaining about it being a little chilly? Well, you're right, okay? The heat dome was kind of... It was severe, at least for a lot of people. I didn't know we were on an XL floor. I will take it, absolutely. And it caused a lot of problems. Apparently killed, apparently billions of specimens of, like, marine life, which is kind of, let's not think about it too much, I guess, because it's a sobering thought. But now, it's a little chilly. It was... Yesterday I saw... because I follow the Vancouver subreddit to learn about the best places to get lunch for under $10 in the city. And also to hear just absolutely unhinged ranting about, like... I mean, this is true on Reddit in general, right? But, like, I think especially on civic Reddits, it's like, PSA, Every post is like, PSA, did you know that when you go on the highway, you should zipper merge, which means that you let the person in the merge lane go in, then traffic goes in, that was already flowing, then the person in the merge lane goes in, then traffic goes in, and you're like, okay, yes, I did. Look, the people that need to learn this are not scrolling through Reddit on... I wish that they were, but they're not scrolling through Reddit looking for traffic advice. They're at the number 5 orange going, shots, 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 shots. Maybe that's... Maybe they are on Reddit, what do I know, but I'm just saying, the number 5 orange, of course, is the most infamous adult entertainment area in Vancouver. I believe it was featured in Deadpool 1, or maybe they filmed something there that ended up being in Deadpool. I can't remember, the whole thing was shot here, but I saw on Reddit, it's the other reason I go to the Vancouver subreddit, is to put weather events into context, right? Tell me you're a boomer without telling me you're a boomer. Yesterday, which is October 13th, was the coldest October 13th since 1937. I don't need to tell you what it was like back then. My God. It was brisk. It was chilly. Everybody was wearing Canada Goose jackets. Look, I guess you got to think about it like what? There's been... Since 1937, there's been almost 100 years. I'm just using it as a back-of-the-napkin calculation. We could do better on our math there. And then there's like almost 400 days in a year. So you would think that maybe, on average, 4 times a year, you would have a day that is either the hottest or just the most remarkable version of that. I guess technically it might be 8 times a year because it could be either the hottest or the coldest, right? But... still, when it happens, you're like, what? First time in 100 years? That's insane. That's nutty. So we are supposed to get the boss rush, by the way, but I feel like we got a pretty good chance of actually making that happen. trying to remember. I think we can definitely go Angel Deals, because we know that it's Guppy's Paw and Contract from Below. UPs? Neither of which... I mean, Guppy's Paw, of course, has future prospects, but apart from that, is not that incredible. Contract from Below, or Missing... Contract from Below as well, like Missing Page. Nobody really knows what it does, myself included. Even the developers, they're trying to solve the mystery themselves. I'm going to stay on 2 HP. Even if we can't get the reward from that, you know, we've been losing frequently. More frequently than I would like. Maybe it's time to make some more sensible decisions. Hoping we get like a red heart here, which would allow us to then, you know... There we go. Look at that. So we're not taking that. I'm willing to go down to 2 hearts again. Please, the blood bag. Please. Please, please me. That's fine. I guess we didn't have to use a bomb, but this is an insanely good first floor, which is technically 2 floors. But I think we got 3 HP upgrades, 3 luck upgrades, a damage upgrade, the virus, and wait, what? Like, that's... Not to mention we have 41 cents, 5 bombs, 12 keys. Maybe if she's 5'2", is that... that's from Baby Got Back, right? I can't really act like that's a song from my generation. I'm pretty sure Baby Got Back probably came out in like 1991 or something like that. I was technically alive, but only, you know, I didn't listen. I'll be honest, like I was kind of a hater when I was a kid, right? And UPs? I'll tell you why. Like a lot of people, like I think they're afraid to admit, maybe not afraid, maybe embarrassed is a better word. Okay, we can end the floor by going this way, because I think this is still unfixed, but I might be wrong. Maybe they're embarrassed to admit that they didn't always hold the opinions that they hold today, right? Not just with respect to actually, like, important issues in life, but even with respect to, like, media and stuff like that. You know, sometimes I'll be like, you know, when I was 8, I thought that, well, 8 is a little old. When I was 4, I thought that on the radio there was just a little man that lived in your car stereo that picked the next song that you got to hear. People will be like, a little problematic, NL. And I'm like, it was 1992. And I was 4 years old, and it is obviously a joke. You weren't even like a gamete back then, man. You don't know what it was like. Until you had to hear Ice Ice Baby on Much Music 53 times a day. Don't talk to me about what life was like in 1992. Everybody rolling around in the back of a pickup truck singing along to If I Had $1 Million by the Barenaked Ladies. Come on, man. Some of you were not alive for that period, and it shows. No disrespect to the Barenaked Ladies, by the way. 9% odds were a little optimistic there. You know what's a funny story? Like, the idea of a band called the Barenaked Ladies in 2021 is very quaint. But actually, legitimately, there were protests, not extreme ones. Like, they were a popular band, and it's not like they ever really courted that much controversy. But there were protests from people that were like, what? Next week, Barenaked Ladies are going to be at Massey Hall. Look how far, like, the moral fabric of society has crumbled. And it's funny looking back, because, A, the Barenaked Ladies, although I enjoy some of their music, maybe even more of their music than average, I would say. I owned Gordon, I owned Born on a Pirate Ship, I owned Stunt, I owned Maroon. I think that might be it, but still, anybody else out here own more than 4 Barenaked Ladies CDs? I don't think so. So, you know, the prosecution does not rest. The prosecution continues. But they're, like, one of the least, like, controversial bands you could ever imagine in terms of the content of their music, at least. Like, every song is just kind of like a good-natured, slightly quirky pop light rock song. You know, every single one is kind of like, what if They Might Be Giants was just like 50% less weird? and Canadian. That's pretty much what it's all about. Okay, I'm willing to take a chance on me. If you change your... Okay, maybe we should have taken Guppy's collar, but you know what they say about hindsight. And we could play the confessional a little bit, but that would require the confessional to be good, which has never happened. Instead, we will... I'm still very pleased with this, don't get me wrong. Again, probably didn't need to use bombs, but... I just can't imagine being so stupid, and I use that term literally, I guess, in this case, or at least I mean what I say, not just like I disagree with them. But can you imagine, like, attending a protest for a band because they're called something that implies nudity? I know they're not nude. I know it's just, you know, 5 good-natured, affable gentlemen from Etobicoke. However, please... Can we just change the name? Couldn't you just be like the Stephen Page and Friends Band or something like that? Like, how puritanical do you have to be to get offended by the words bare naked ladies? But anyway, this was 1992. Things were different back then. I was of the opinion, probably until I was like 9 or 10, that rap music required no skill. And like, I laugh sometimes because there are still some people who hold this belief I see on social media, and you just gotta laugh at this point because, like, culture has left this take so far behind in like the mid 1990s that it's comical. But it's like it's not even really singing; it's just talking really fast. And then and this is what I would do as a kid too. I would always do an impression of rap, and it would end up being like the worst rap of all time. You know, it's always so corny. You know how it starts. Anytime somebody makes fun of rap, it's just talking really fast. Like, look, here, I'll do it. My name is Bill, and I'm here to say I like to write rhymes every day. I write rhymes in my sleep. I write rhymes when I wake. I write rhymes with a strawberry milkshake. You know, it's some kind of variant on that. Or they'll just throw in like a random, you know, shizzle or something like that. Like it's a comedy at that point. Remember, we're trying to make Boss Rush here, so I'm making some expedited decisions that I think, I mean, this run is really good, but... Now, in my defense, although this is not, I mean, this happens to be a happy coincidence that makes me look better than I was at the age. 2 things in my defense. One is I was growing up in quite a rural area during a very popular time for country music. Garth Brooks, Brooks and Dunn, all the Brookses of all varieties. Brooks was here at the time. Brooks was here. Shawshank Redemption had come out. Everybody was Brooks crazy. T-shirts, cereal boxes. Brooks on Ice, Brooks and Dunn on Ice, My Maria, etc., etc. And it seemed like, you know, country music and rap music were kind of diametrically opposed. This is before country music took the lessons of nu metal, and then there's so much in new country that I hear on occasion, because, believe it or not, a tendon, and we're going like 17 nested anecdotes deep here. A tendon restaurant that my wife very much enjoys for some reason, aesthetically, despite being a Japanese restaurant, exclusively plays 2010 era country music. I didn't realize that they'd married that sort of like, and I hate to resort to yet another stereotype here for music. I know there's good country music, you know, Sturgill Simpson and so on and so forth. Scarlett Johansson's cover album of Tom Waits songs. Alright, well, I guess we had already peeped the deal with the devil by going into that one, so... even if it was via a red chest? It would have been different if it had been a non-XL floor first. I think that wouldn't have counted as our precedent, but maybe we hit like a weird edge case. Anyway, but it seems like a lot of like 2010s era country is like... We took the stereotype of, like, I'll be singing about my truck and, like, people in the city just don't understand what it's like. And, you know, that ain't my truck in a driveway. Oh, man, this don't look good at all. And you're like, you're from Connecticut, man. Why do you sound like that? You're from... I read your Wikipedia article. You went to Wharton. That ain't my girl, my whole world, and that ain't my truck. Anyway, long story short, they merged that with like a rap verse in a lot of songs. Anyway, I don't mean to offend a portion of my audience. You know, everybody's got opinions on music. You listen to whatever you like to listen to, okay? It doesn't say anything positive or negative about your personality unless you want it to, I guess. Either way, the other thing that I wanted to say is that rap music, by the way, rip to the person who does NL song references explained. This is going to be a very citation heavy episode in the comments. 2. Rap music, popular rap music, let's say. When I was between the ages of, you know, let's say like 5 and 12, was not in a good place. We had Ice Ice Baby. We had Baby Got Back. We had I'm Too Sexy by Right Said Fred. I'll maintain to this day, in my world, that's a rap song. Because he's just talking really fast. Or really slow, I guess. I'm a model, you know what I mean. I like to shake my diddle-doo out on the... Maybe all popular music was in a weird place then, but... regardless, excuse me, thank you. I don't think I got into rap music until... I mean, like... My favorite rapper... until I was like probably 13 years old was probably Dave Matthews. And you're like, he's not a rapper? Yeah, but sometimes like in his live sets, like he would go pretty hard in between the songs. Maybe it wouldn't be traditionally rap because he never said, you know, for shizzle. By the way, I wondered if it was okay to say for shizzle. And then I realized that Snoop Dogg has like a cooking television program with Martha Stewart? This is an honest question. Didn't Snoop Dogg, like... Didn't he... look, being accused of something and being convicted of something are two different things. But didn't he probably kill a guy? I'm not trying to cancel Snoop Dogg, okay? Like, maybe this is a Giga Brain take. But, you know, grew up not under the best of circumstances... you know, violent influences, and it was like we're talking about something that might have been 40 years ago. You know, there's probably some crimes that are irredeemable. I don't know the circumstances surrounding the accusations of Snoop Dogg here, but it is long enough ago that I wouldn't necessarily be like, you know, no harm, no foul, but like, you know, I guess I wouldn't necessarily say being accused of murder it is a situation where you should be condemned in the court of a public opinion for the rest of your life. Especially when you also made Doggy Style and were a very large contributing factor of Nothing But a G Thing. Two seminal works in the hip-hop community. We need to get out of here. We are not going to make Boss Rush. This is a difficulty spike. Get me out, please. I need to leave. I think I should leave. But, like, I also do think that Snoop Dogg, I'm like, as soon as you... Everything goes out the window as soon as you're doing a show with Martha Stewart. I'm like, this is a very... an episode steeped in apologia. I was a teenager when Martha Stewart went to prison for insider trading. I am not going to bat for Martha Stewart or insider trading for that matter, okay? All I'm going to say is that the media definitely back then painted a narrative of, well, oh, rich Martha Stewart, you know, like breaking the law, whoa, you're protecting her millions of dollars, and I think it's very easy to get people on the side of like, well, it's double-edged. I don't want to act like, you know, people are always like, you know, screw the celebrity. A lot of times, you know, especially with like stan culture, I think, not just modern staying culture, but even like, you know, back in the day. If a celebrity gets accused of something like terrible or convicted of something terrible, people are like, they're just jealous. Regardless. Okay, I mean, we're gonna try here. Whoa, I got stun locked. Imagine my surprise when I looked up the Martha Stewart case. I think it's begging for a Netflix documentary about the role of I mean, yes, Wall Street, but also like Martha Stewart, but also like, you know, the role of the media in affecting how the public saw this case. Martha Stewart went to prison for a year. What if I made you guess the capital involved in her inside trading conviction? What would you say? I'm gonna guess your first guess would probably be on the order of millions of dollars. But then, because of the fact that I've primed you to believe it's going to be surprising, you're probably like, I don't know, maybe like $200,000. Martha Stewart, obviously a very wealthy lady. You know, a media empire. I think she had her own television network at the time, not even just like a show. She had a whole network, a magazine back when people like read those outside of doctor's office situations. Let's be real. This is not happening. So, oh my, what the heck was that? Either way. Imagine my surprise, and this doesn't excuse it, but imagine my surprise when I found out it was $60,000. I'm not saying that that's not a large sum of money, and in some ways it's kind of surprising that, you know, someone like Martha Stewart, who has, at the time, probably had a net worth that I would have to imagine was in the 8 figures, would risk her public reputation and also like the very real penalty of time in prison, obviously, for a sum that is relatively meager when placed within the context of her net worth at the time, and probably still to this day. At the same time, though, there was an element of me that is like, they just made an example of this lady, or I don't know, maybe like things have changed. Not a smart play there, obviously. But you'll see like situations in the media where like, especially like white collar crime, there'll be like, you know, CEOs who have defrauded investors in their company out of like millions of dollars, and they're like, you know, okay, pay him back, and also don't do it again. You are barred from being a CEO for 2 years. And you're like, look, I'm not an expert in American SEC compliance laws. I do think they kind of did. I think that she, based on the evidence involved, it certainly seems like she did that, okay? So I'm not trying to say she should have gotten off with like a slap on the wrist necessarily. But I think that within the court proceedings and the sentencings, they said, holy crap, we can pin something on Martha Stewart, and they went a little harder, right? That's just my take. I'm mostly just bringing it up to spitball, because I mean, if I wanted a nuanced take on like the American legal system, YouTube and YouTube comments are not where I would get it from. I would probably go to iFunny and learn thusly. I'm just saying, okay? It's just, I'm not saying it's an insignificant amount of money, except within the context of, you know, Martha Stewart's assets at the time. I'm merely saying that I feel like, well, here's the you know, the legal system's weird, right? If a normal person had defrauded someone of $60,000, I think they would have gotten a larger sentence. But I am like, if a CEO had defrauded somebody of $60,000, like a, you know, an otherwise not well-known business professional, I think that they might have just been like, hey, you know, hey, don't do that. Hey, please don't do that again. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Maybe that's just my own biases of play, though. I kind of think they did Martha a little dirty. Just my take on it, okay? You gotta give her some credit, though. Like, I mean, not for insider trading. You gotta give her some credit. You know that she also, like, rather than appeal, when she got sentenced, they were like, you have up to, you know, like 3 months to arrange your affairs or something like that. And she was like, nah, man, just toss me in the joint. I want to get this done as soon as possible. Like, Martha Stewart is a little gangster. She's like, if I'm gonna go to prison, why wait? Just take me. Anyway, so yeah, like rap was not at its peak popularly within the mid 1990s. Now, obviously, you know, Tribe Called Quest was going strong, Wu-Tang Clan, Nas, etc., but not all of that percolated to rural Ontario, Canada. I was just getting a lot of, like, you know, Vanilla Ice and like the most popular rap song in Canada in my childhood, Informer. I lick it boom boom down. And then we have to go Blue Baby. What is going on with this game, man? Or maybe it's the mod. I gotta, like, I'm not saying I have to uninstall the mod because I'm not blaming the mod necessarily, but I do have you know, my audience is trying to snooze here. Maybe it's the game. I don't know. But it's like sudden changes in volume like that. As the steward of many people's, you know, nighttime peace, I'm starting to take issue. That's the streamer viewer privilege, man. Then it hit like a truck, man. When DMX came out, oh man, that really resonated with my rural friends. We were listening to a lot of, like, you know, that's the Rough Riders roll. That's how Rough Riders roll. Anyway, I feel like it's pretty good, man. We got like 25 minutes of content out of just one story that never stops spiraling. That's what happens, like, okay, I'm just being honest with you. Again, this is not meant to be complaining about, like, YouTube or anything like that. I have been really trying to work less. And I've pulled back a lot in the last year, right? Like, maybe like 30% or something like that, which is... It's a lot, especially coming from somebody who, like, has self-described himself as a workaholic. I don't say that as a badge of honor. You can go back to videos 2016, 17, 18. I describe myself as a workaholic in a negative way. I think a lot of times people, they wear it as a badge of pride because they're like, yeah, I'm making myself miserable. And I was not miserable, just to be clear, but, you know, I'm impacting my own enjoyment in order for the betterment of either my company or my family or, you know, my clients or whatever. I was, you know, I think maybe that's true for some people, but for me that would have been a little bit of a lie, you know? It's just... If I got nothing else to do, I might as well record because it keeps, like, the voice at bay. That is, like, you know, one day this YouTube stuff is all gonna, like, go away. So, you know, make hay while the sun's up. I think it's a useful attitude that also is somewhat harmful. So I've been trying to work less. I think it has improved the quality of my speech. You know, just to not be constantly racking my brain for... anything that could even slightly be an anecdote. Like, I got a good anecdote yesterday. We're half an hour into this episode. I haven't even gone to it yet. So I was at the grocery store with my mom yesterday. And there was, every once in a while, you'll be in the grocery store and you'll see some characters, right? You don't, I couldn't describe for you how you know someone is going to be at least a temporary character in your own story. Like, if you think of your life as a movie, there are people, the vast majority of people you see on a daily basis are extras. They exist to create chatter in the coffee shop. I know they're living their own lives. I'm just, if you look at it through this context, that'll make the joke funnier later. They make noise at the coffee shop, or, you know, they're traffic. They're walking on the street. Then there's some people you interact. You have main characters, let's say. You know, your spouse, your kids, your parents. You know, your pets, even stuff like that. Your best friends. Then there's people who, you know, you bump into them on the street, or you give your middle finger to them while you're driving. I did that yesterday. I was waiting at I'll tell you, this is exactly how it happened, okay? I was waiting to turn left at a fairly busy intersection, but it was a little late at night. For me, it was like 7:30, which is getting pretty close to my bedtime now. And I was at that period where I maybe had enough time to make it before a car that was coming straight through the intersection would have had to slow down or stop for me to make it. So I generally, and this is because, you know, I haven't, I guess, internalized all the foibles of big city driving yet. Most people here would just gun it and do it, and then if someone had to slow down and they honked at them, they would just, I don't know, like write down their license plate, get their, you know, brother-in-law who's a cop to run the plates, and then, like, leave a bag of flaming dog poop on their doorstep or something like that. But I don't like to live my life like that. You know, driving is just driving to me. It's not like an extension of my personality. So I tend to wait and say, like, if this person's going straight, then by all means, come through the intersection. I'll go in after you. I'm not in a rush, right? So they moseyed up to the intersection. Soon as they got to the line, they turned on their left signal light, indicating that they were turning left the whole time, but just opted not to put their signal light on for until the exact last possible moment. Now, they probably were not doing it just to make me sit at that light and then feel like they had a little bit of power, but that's not how you feel when you're in that situation. So yeah, I flipped them a bird. Take me away, boys. Put me in prison. You know, that's why you gotta, you signal, because the driving is a series of, you know, flow statements, basically. Like flow of control, right? Like there's a bunch of if-thens while driving. If this person's left signal light is on, I will attempt to make the turn. If their signal light was on by accident and they end up barreling through the intersection, I'll be dead, but at least I had the right of way. You know, it's the contract by which we live by. So they turned their signal light on at the last possible second, which meant I spent, you know, 4 or 5 seconds just sitting there waiting for them, which 4 or 5 seconds is not a big deal, but when there's no reason for it, and it inconveniences you to no benefit for anybody else, and the people behind me for that matter, that's when you get the bird. But this isn't even the story, okay? So I was at the grocery store, and I just saw someone who I was like, they were making a lot of noise and taking up a lot of attention, versus your average grocery store customer that takes up like 0. So I knew that they were gonna, you know, there was a chance this person was gonna become at least a cameo in my own story, right? They were gonna be woven into the loom of fate here. I also saw them. They were waiting for. Look, they picked up. The only thing I saw them get in the grocery store, and you know, it's a tight one, so we were in the vicinity of one another for quite some time. I only saw her get dairy. She got like an enormous, like, industrial-sized tub of yogurt, an industrial-sized tub of sour cream. She went to another section in the like the refrigerated section of the grocery store. She stood at the display case and threw her hands up in exasperation, and then I swear to you, she said, "This D word, you know, this damn place, I swear to you, man." And she looked around as if like everybody was thinking the same thing, but nobody had any idea what she was talking about, right? So I had the baby in one of the Baby Bjorn harnesses, like strapped to my chest. I keep the MFing thing on me, and I see her pull out her phone, and then she starts walking over, and you know, in my head, I'm like, here we go. And she said to me, "Hey, you know, when I saw your baby, it reminded me of this." And then she showed me a photo on her phone of her own dog. And I was like, oh, that's kind of wholesome. And she's not saying my baby looks like a dog. The baby was in, or the dog was in like a harness, a similar harness. And then she said, "Yeah, I've got a 20-pound Chihuahua." And until, I didn't know how ridiculous it looked until... And I was 100% convinced that she was gonna say, "Until I saw your baby," and I was gonna be like, "Whoa, what the heck?" And then she said, until I saw this photo. And I was now like, you know, she's just making conversation, but I was now like, I only found out about this photo 5 seconds ago, and now I'm getting drawn into like your relationship with your dog. Look, I guess at the end of the day, she was just being nice, but I mean, I was on edge, right? Because for a second, I was like, this lady is gonna insult my baby. Instead, she just took it as an opportunity to come up to me and be like, my dog is large and looks silly. And I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, how about that? Anyway, she wasn't harming anybody. I just got the vibe. I don't know, did I tell this story yet? I had like a very noteworthy walk home from the grocery store like a week ago. First, on the way out of the grocery store, there was just a very elaborately dressed older lady outside of the grocery store, and she was holding a large piece of Bristol board that literally, it was bright pink, and it just said GoFundMe. It didn't have a link. It didn't have any details. It literally just said GoFundMe. And then she was outside of the grocery store just like, you know, waving the sign and, I don't know, trying to raise awareness for GoFundMe. Maybe she works in the marketing department. I don't know. When I left the store with my stroller, she just went, she leaned into the stroller, not enough to be alarming, but enough to be strange, and went like, I forget exactly what she said, but she was borderline shouting, and she was like, you go, baby, you go, gah! And I just didn't acknowledge it at all and moved along. And then same walk, I swear to God, I was wheeling the stroller and looking at my phone, which is a very common thing. You know, I know the non-parent, if I had a baby, I would never look at my phone ever again. I would never eat junk food ever again. I would never gossip ever again, of course. Yeah, no. It definitely... Typically, most people find that when their life gets harder and more stressful and packed with stuff, they act in a better way. Definitely. That's pretty much the way that happens all the time. You can wheel the stroller and still be an attentive pedestrian with a phone. You know, you put your phone away at stoplights and intersections. You pay attention to stuff like that. When you're on long stretches of sidewalk, you know, you can look at stuff. Some of my best tweets come from that environment. But anyway, unfortunately, this offended somebody while I was walking, who said something to me. Like I could tell he was talking to me, but he just went like, "Arr!" And I said, "Pardon me," not as an offense, but just like, "Yeah, okay. If you're so confident, say it again." Then he said, "You don't have to take a photo of your baby. She's right there." And I said, "Okay." I didn't even muster a fake laugh. And then he said, "Ha, sir, have a great day." And I was like, I believe I said "you as well," which is the closest I come to saying "get out of my face." It's like, never speak to me again is a 10 out of 10 anger. Have a nice day is like a 9.8. I don't know. Look, he didn't appear to be of the soundest mind, let's be honest. But at the same time, I was just like, I didn't know you could do that. Like, basically, see a stranger on the street, kind of insult them or call their parenting methods into question. And then when they don't find it that funny, be like, have a good day, I'm just a joker. Mind your own business, weirdo. And then, this is the third horseman of the apocalypse. There was a middle-aged couple making out hard on the sidewalk. Like, they were going in deep. And I just had to get by them, but there was like a telephone pole next to them. I don't want to go out in the road with the stroller. So I just kind of went like, "Oh, excuse me." And then the guy broke the kiss. And he was like so either surprised or intoxicated that he almost fell down on top of the stroller. And I was just like, we gotta hold it together here as a society, man. This is getting crazy. It's like a 45-minute walk. I encountered 3 spicy events. But anyway, hey, a good run. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps it a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya!